What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship. Today we're going to talk about another Imperial Lord. I'm inspired to make this by a little one-shot I did over at the end of Planar Crossroads. If you have any requests for any deities, core or otherwise, you might like to see covered, feel free to leave them in the comments below. However, today it's all about the Imperial Lord Ragathiel, first appearing in Chronicle of the Righteous, with a stat block appearing in Pathfinder's Bestiary 6. So I said I was inspired to make this video after playing a one-shot over at the end of Planar Crossroads. In that one-shot, pretty much the entire party played characters following the General of Vengeance, and if you guys might be interested in watching that, you can find a link to that one-shot right up here. Of course, as one of our patrons, this episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship was brought to you in part by the End of Planar Crossroads. Thanks for your help, guys. So we've been talking about net neutrality a lot in this channel, and I'm not going to throw the bullet points at you anymore. You've heard them from me, you've heard them from everywhere else on the internet because it's a big deal. I'm recording this on a Sunday. You guys see it on a Wednesday. That vote happens on December 14th. One last time, please, whether or not you've made the calls, whether or not you've filled out the petitions, here are the links in the description. But enough of sad, depressing talk. Let's talk about the General Vengeance, shall we? So, like last week when we talked about Black Butterfly, a link for which you can find right here, Ragathiel is an Imperial Lord, a servant of the gods who, through transcendence, has achieved a small measure of divine power, which means he is able to grant followers spells, he has super special high-level abilities, but he's still killable, he still has stats, albeit very high. He's much more accessible at the point of your sword than, say, like Iyomide. Ragathiel takes an active role in the battle against Hell's fiendish legions. He shines at the head of his army, a figure of golden light cleaving through the ranks of devils that face him. Soldiers of all kinds, but particularly knights, pay homage to Ragathiel and pray for his virtue and wrathful strength in battle. Those who have taken vows, especially those of duty or vengeance, hold Ragathiel as their ideal, and his agents sometimes assist those who have been grievously wronged and now seek righteous violence. All of this, however, is very ironic because Ragathiel is the son of a demigoddess of the plane of fire named Feronia and the archdevil Dispater. He was conceived in a brief tryst lasting, only a few centuries, after which his mother took him out of hell. Ragathiel's tainted heritage has left him with a wrathful heart, and the angel struggles constantly to master his baser impulses in service to the light. For thousands of years, he strove to prove himself to the angelic choirs of heaven, and in the maelstrom he wrestled for 16 years with a monstrous evil serpent whose scales wept acidic blood until he was able to choke the life out of it. He led an entire army against one of the iron fortresses of Avernus and burned the castle to the ground with holy fire, single-handedly maiming the infernal Duke Deumus in the process. Finally, the other Imperial Lords agreed to admit Ragathiel into their ranks, and now they appear to trust the angel completely, though, of course, this trust that we see today took centuries to develop. At some point in history, Ragathiel destroyed Typhon, the original ruler of the first layer of Hell, and he may have been manipulated into doing so by the schemes of Asmodeus to punish Typhon for his indiscretions. In ancient times, Ragathiel was once served by the Hand of the Inheritor, an angel who now acts as the goddess Iomede's herald. Then known as the Hand of Vengeance, this angel asked to be reassigned to Iomede after the death of Eridan. Ragathiel is commonly worshipped by knights, soldiers, the wronged, and the Imperial Lord employs Aasimars, paladins, blink dogs, and Kirin as his most common servants. The holiest time for Ragathiel's followers are the brief moments before and after a battle. Followers of Ragathiel commonly wear red and silver clothing, and many also don an ornamental sigil the color of flames, typically on their helmets. Among the most LG followers of Ragathiel are his Crimson Templars, ruthless assassins who are willing to kill in the name of good while saving others from having to perform such violent acts. Their intense affiliation fortifies them against flames while also empowering them with heavenly fire and can grant them 5-winged flight similar to their patrons. In non-lore terms, a Crimson Templar is a 10th level prestige class appearing in Paths of the Righteous. Now, we say 5 wings. Once upon a time, Ragathiel did have 6. Once upon a time, his wings numbered 6, but one of them was torn from his body by the archdevil Dispater, again, Ragathiel's father. Ragathiel is one of my favorite lawful good deities, and though he doesn't really have an on-earth equivalent, we can compare him to something like Hellboy or Dante from Devil May Cry, demons and devils born of hell but rising up out of it to become something more, to become something greater. Ragathiel's followers in the lore have to deal with the paradox of his faith. Unlike those who worship more forgiving deities, Ragathiel's chosen fight against evil foes unwaveringly and usually without offering second chances. Most worshippers don't see this as hypocrisy, but rather as a sign that redemption must come from the former sinner, and even then, not merely as an excuse to escape punishment for their sins. Thus, they do not take the initiative to offer opportunities for redemption to evildoers, but they listen carefully, if skeptically, to any who come seeking such a chance. Ragathiel empathizes with the moral dilemmas of his followers as he himself constantly struggles with his own dark impulses. Thus, while he is unforgiving to his foes, he is particularly forgiving when it comes to lapses of judgment from his own followers, allowing a wrathful paladin atonement when other deities might not. Certain other faiths are quick to interpret this willingness to bend the rules for certain circumstances involving paladins who perhaps go too far in pursuing their faith's goals as weakness, and worry that there may be a little too much of his diabolic father lingering in Ragathiel for him to be truly a leader of heaven's armies. The general of vengeance alignment is lawful good, and his domains are destruction, good, law, and nobility. His subdomains are Archon, both good and law, judgment, martyr, and rage. His favored weapon is a bastard sword, his symbol being a sword crossed with a wing. His sacred animal is the mastiff, and his sacred colors are crimson and gold. Chronicle of the Righteous has given us a celestial obedience for Ragathiel, and in order to access it, we must slay a proven wrongdoer in Ragathiel's name. It's not enough for the sacrifice to have an evil heart or evil intentions. The sacrifice must have committed evil or unlawful deeds. In return for this, we gain a +4 sacred bonus on saving throws against spells and effects cast by evil creatures. This is probably the hardest to achieve obedience that I have ever read. Most of the other obediences have some kind of caveat for if you can't do this, instead do this thing. Ragathiel is lacking, and that is on flavor, and I can appreciate that. However, right off the bat, I'm seeing something that sometimes can be downright unplayable, and I'm going into reading the boons skeptical at best. At 12th level, Ragathiel grants Blessed Weapon thrice a day, Litany of Righteousness, a very powerful spell, twice a day, or Magic Vestment once a day. At 16th, you gain a sacred bonus equal to half your hit dice on damage rolls made with slashing weapons against the last creature to have physically wounded you within the last 24 hours. And at 20th, you can cast Holy Aura on yourself once a day. In addition to the effects of that spell, those effects being a +4 deflection bonus to AC and a +4 resistance bonus on saves, spell resistance 25 against evil spells and spells cast by evil creatures, protection from possession and mental influence as protection from evil, and if an evil creature succeeds on a melee attack against you, they are blinded with a fort save to negate. We also gain DR 10 over good and cold iron, and we treat any weapon in hand as a +5 holy weapon for the duration of the effect. So, if we're playing a Worshipper of Ragathiel, most likely no one's going to break that DR because good aligned weapons probably aren't coming at you. However, the only really powerful ability we have here is Retribution. And even then, it's a little bit on the situational side because the sacred bonus equal to half your hit dice on damage rolls made with slashing weapons against the last creature to have physically wounded you will change because multiple things will probably be attacking. And this turns us a little more from the Paladin to the Berserker. Though that's not bad, it can be really hard to control that, especially in a very big combat style environment. So I'm not really liking this. I think we can go ahead and miss this one. The Paladins of Ragathiel do have their own Paladin code, and Paladins of Ragathiel disproportionately come from cultures that are typically hostile to Paladin training. Think things like half-orcs and hobgoblins. Ragathiel's Paladin code reads as follows. I will avenge evil wrought upon the innocent. I will not give my word lightly, but once it is given, I will uphold a promise until my last breath. Those proven guilty must be punished for their crimes. I will not turn a blind eye to wrongdoings. Rage is a virtue and a strength only when focused against the deserving. I will never seek disproportionate retribution. Redemption finds hearts from even the cruelest origins. I will strive not to act upon prejudice against fellow mortals based upon race or origin. As a Bestiary 6, and this was probably about 75% of the reason that my group bought Bestiary 6, Ragathiel does have a stat block. He's not the strongest thing in the multiverse at CR 26, but we're still going to go over the things the five-winged angel can offer us in combat. Because who knows, maybe one day you'll play an evil campaign and maybe Despater will hire you to go back to heaven and drag his son kicking and screaming back down to hell for a little, re-education. In addition to his attacks with a +5 Evil Outsider Bane Flaming Holy Burst Bastard Sword, Ragathiel also makes attacks with all 5 of his wings. A creature damaged by Ragathiel's burning wings must succeed at a DC 39 reflex save or catch fire. Ragathiel also gains a +4 bonus on caster level checks against devils and on saving throws against their spells, as well as the DCs of his own supernatural abilities and spell-like abilities against devils. Against his father Despater, who does have stats in Bestiary 6, and maybe that'll be next week, we'll see, this bonus increases to +8. Ragathiel is never hindered by his +5 full plate, and is considered to not be wearing armor for the purposes of his maximum dexterity bonus to armor class, his armor check penalty, and his speed. Ragathiel's Lay on Hands works as a paladin's, and he can apply any paladin mercy to his Lay on Hands ability, and he can use this ability on himself, even when a condition or effect would otherwise deny him actions on his turn. So we can't paralyze this guy, we can't shut him off, he can always, as a swift action, just be back in the fight. As a free action, with Ragathiel's permission, any ally within Ragathiel's primal aura, that being within 30 feet of him, can spend 2 uses of Ragathiel's Smite Evil, or 4 uses of his Lay on Hands, to instantly grant each ally within the aura the benefits of Ragathiel's Smite Evil against an enemy of that ally's choice. Ragathiel can Smite Evil as a 20th level paladin, and with a 29 charisma score, that's pretty respectable, but his Smite deals extra damage only on the first hit against evil outsiders, not evil dragons, and not undead. He can trade 2 uses of Lay on Hands for an additional use of his Smite Evil as many times per day as he wishes, provided that he has enough uses of Lay on Hands to do so. We don't normally go to the stat block up top, but Ragathiel does have the ability to Lay on Hands for 17d6 10 times a day. Ragathiel inherited an affinity for fire from his mother. Fire heals Ragathiel a number of hit points equal to the amount of damage it would have dealt. So a maximized 10d6 fireball throwing 60 damage at him would instead heal him for 60 hit points. Any fire damage dealt by Ragathiel ignores evil outsiders' fire resistance and immunity to fire, and deals double damage to devils. Ragathiel gains a sacred bonus to his armor class equal to his charisma bonus, which again is 9, and whenever Ragathiel receives magical healing, which one assumes also comes from that same fireball, he has 2 additional hit points restored per hit die rolled. So if I'm rolling 48, he gets 8 extra hit points before we even calculate what I rolled on that 48. Ragathiel might not be the most powerful thing in the book, and to a party who knows how to build an optimized character, Ragathiel is certainly challengeable. However, if we use him right, he can still provide a very potent end-of-game challenge. We just make sure that Ragathiel has a lot of buddies, and we make sure all those buddies use that Smite Evil and stay within his primal aura to really maximize the damage we're doing to the evil guys that are attacking him. The General of Vengeance is known to lead his armies from the front. Key word there, his armies, not just himself. So if we are making Ragathiel as an encounter, there's nothing saying we can't include something like 1d4 Solar Angels accompanying him getting that Smite Evil, tearing the party of evildoers to smithereens. Ragathiel is probably my favorite lawful good deity, but what do you guys think about him? Would you worship him? Would you include him in your campaigns as an NPC? Somebody to hang out with the party and pass out Smite Evils? Or would you use this guy as some sort of end-of-campaign boss monster in your evil campaigns? Let me know all about it in the comments below, because again, I really love this deity. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. The next episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship drops next Wednesday.